Today I'm with Cory Marcon, and Cory is the Projects and Strategic Business Manager for Endress+Hauser. Now, as a Projects and Strategic Business Manager for Endress+Hauser, obviously there's a lot of different roles there, and we're really not here to talk about that today with Cory. We're here today to talk and focus on a project engineering tool that Endress+Hauser has that Cory owns as part of his role. And he and I actually currently working with one of our customers. I'm like, Cory, this is really cool, man. This is a cool tool. We got to talk about this on my podcast. So, Cory, welcome to my podcast, man.
Thank you. This is my first podcast. So this is new territory for me.
Well, hey, I only thought I would be doing a couple of these, Cory, and this is like number 35 or so for me. So, and I'm still learning. So here we go. So welcome.
It's great. It's great. And I mean, we're all, in our homes trying to seek that intimacy once again with our friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, etc.
So. Golly, man, we're still doing this, and hopefully normal's not too far down the road. So,
fingers crossed.
Yes. But hey, man, so Cory, engineering firms can use this, end users, OEMs. Essentially, in a nutshell, it mitigates risks in their projects. It saves them time. Can you show a high-level view of like what an engineering tool, what this is? Maybe I'll share the screen with me and come on in and show this to someone watching this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I just turned my camera off. Let me pull it up here.
Perfect.
Are you looking at a PDF?
I am, and it says CEP plus EPC 4.0.
Yeah. So basically, what we're referring to here is that whole like Industry 4.0, right? This idea of everything moving towards the cloud, or everything becoming our customers' digital transformation. And I want to stress that this is actually an internal tool that we've opened up to the customer inside of our Endress.com portal. And I'll share a different screen just so you can actually quickly see what this really is here. It's basically, and some of our customers may be familiar with this, configurator, which is a way to build a full part number that can be orderable. Applicator, which is like a kind of an assistant to help guide you on which measurement principle to use based on certain parameters that you can upload. It's those two things integrated inside of this kind of Excel-like, virtual bill of materials. In fact, it is so like Excel that when you pull this, you're actually creating something you can copy paste directly into Excel, which is extremely useful in certain cases. But if you look at these, you've got standard, selection, sizing, configure. In the case of a temperature transmitter, if you just click through to sizing here for just the sake of the demo, it'll pop up here in a moment.
Yeah.
It'll actually do full-on wake frequency calculations as an example, right, of sizing. We have some pressure drop versus accuracy on flow meters, and we actually have something very unique in the marketplace, which is sizing diaphragms correctly for pressure transmitters. So if you have a high pressure event like a nitrogen purge on a line, and you need to understand, okay, during normal circumstances, how accurate is this pressure transmitter going to be? We can game that out for you and do those calculations so that we're not giving you some calculus homework to do for your accuracy statement. So that's really it. I mean, all of our documentation kind of gets tucked behind all of this information. So it's a very powerful tool that we've always used internally to support our customers. But in the last 12 months, when we've gone more and more digital, we've decided that it's a good workspace to collaborate in.
Hey, and that's a great point. Great workspace collaborating, Cory. So again, I just entered this space about a month ago, right? I'm like, hey, what is this thing? And my inside sales engineer lives with this and breathes with this now, and he knows it pretty well. And we have a very interesting conversation every day with an engineering firm, and they're in a plus or minus 30% moving to detailed design, and they were not familiar with this. And we introduced it, and they were like, hey, this could really streamline our engineering hours, our engineering time. And I think that's what you're saying there, is that if you don't know the details, all the details, it can help you get to that plus or minus 30%, for instance. And then as you go into more details, it can help you along and really hone in each instrument for you. Is that a good statement?
Yeah, honestly, this platform is an estimator's dream. When you go into configurator, you're actually getting the cost for every single adder that you're building, and it sums out as a total. So when you're at the stage of conceptual engineering and you know you need 30 Coriolis meters, you can just kind of go into this portal and multiply that out pretty quickly. We can apply special pricing for some of our key accounts to always have access to what that is, or we can just put US list pricing in there. So again, it's really good for estimators. Endress+Hauser is unique in that we have the broadest portfolio of instrumentation under one brand. So we do actually make a complete partner in the context of instrumentation, especially when you're doing estimating. But like you said, when you start to transition into detailed engineering, which we've been talking to your customer about, you can do full configurations, you can do the sizings, you can actually bulk import information too, so that some of those process information that you didn't have during the estimating, but suddenly you do, you can bulk upload that. So you've got like 300 transmitters, and you have to plug in 10 little fields of information on flow rate, pressure, min max conditions. You're just in that case saving 3,000 data entries. And so that's time, but from the risk standpoint, it's also, automating some of that potential human error away.
Yeah. That's it, and that was something that this particular customer even said. He said, I need to get my team trained on this. And he said, hey, I've got a couple of folks that I think we can incorporate. And he said, and you were right. He said, even when we're bidding a job, now this project's already in-house for them, but they said, when we're doing just bid jobs, we can now incorporate this very easily and set up a central database. So
yeah, and another thing that your customer said, which I mean, it's a great question. He really likes this idea. He just doesn't want to trap, right? So he's like, am I sole sourcing on Endress+Hauser? And the answer is, of course not. In fact, one of our engineering documents that we can deliver kind of as an auto output, something exportable from all of the Endress+Hauser products in this platform, are ISA type data sheets. So he's going to use ISA type data sheets to go bid us as a partner, and go bid to our competitors. And personally, I think that that's fine. I mean, that we just want to be involved earlier in the process.
Well, yeah, and I mean, hey, speaking quite frankly in the podcast, right? Let's face it, as a vendor, if we're involved with a customer and partner with a customer up front, our probability of winning is greater. But at the same time, you never want, hey, it's just like, personally, if you're going out to buy something, you never want to feel like you're pinned in. So yeah, this database gives someone the opportunity to, like you were saying, streamline their engineering, mitigate their risk, do a lot of really cool things. Central database, literally a digital bill of materials and a final bill of materials that they can either purchase from Endress+Hauser, for instance, and also miscellaneous items that are part of a project if they want to go to a central, like one purchase order type of thing. Or, hey, there's going to be times when they say, you know what, we're not going, Endress+Hauser isn't going to get the business, but they can still use this tool and say, you know what, the client preferred brand X, and those things happened, you know, or you lost the bid, and those things happen too sometimes. So we don't always want to admit that, but those things do happen. So it's just part of business.
It's show business, baby.
And that, I like that. It's show business, baby.
Yeah.
All right, man. You got a little, you got some creative flair in the background there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. There you go. So
Look, and what's cool about any software, right? And as we move into this like digital era, is that things start to scale, right? Like look at Facebook. You just created this online ecosystem and then it just exploded. It's not a direct analogy, but just to say that the larger that the project becomes, kind of the more valuable this source of truth is, this central engineering platform. Because you could have multiple EPCs involved. Like we've done really large refineries where there's a separate EPC for ISBL and OSBL, and there might be a bunch of OEMs mixed in. And in the end, the customer is getting some mosaic of a bunch of different people interpreting what a pressure transmitter needs to be according to their SOPs or their design. And what we can offer as kind of more of a coordinated supplier across really internationally is a central, virtual bill of materials where we can apply, not just price harmony to all of those different people in the project ecosystem, but also product standardization, either standardization that our customers already have, or just us being aware of minor deviations of like process connection and electrical conduit entry, just to reduce spares once that plant is actually handed over.
Yeah, that's a great point about reduction of spares, details like different connection sizes and things like that, because let's face it, in your career and mine, those are details sometimes that gets to the job site. It's like, hey, this isn't our connection that we wanted, or this isn't our standard that we wanted, or something. A detail gets missed. So this helps to mitigate those risks around those details and managing that project. Cory, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today. 30 seconds, say to the customer, how do we go from here? I mean, at the end of the day, if a customer reaches out to us, what's our next step with Endress+Hauser to do a demo with a customer? What would we do, Cory? What would our next step be?
Sure. So, I mean, so it demos really well virtually. So it's pretty easy to set up some time with myself or some of my colleagues just to kind of walk through the tool. And it's a bit of a workshop, right? It's a bit of a dialogue. It's a conversation, because there's a lot of different ways to use this tool to your benefit. We certainly use it a lot of different ways internally for our benefit. So it's just about finding where the value is, where it fits into your workflows. Honestly, where it doesn't fit into your workflows too. Noting that we're going to use this tool anyways. We're going to have this information on hand. That may be enough, right? But it's more of let's schedule a demo. Let's kind of workshop, what instrument software you're using today. What are your SOPs when it comes to speccing instruments, and just figuring out if this, fits somewhere into that workflow where it's not changing anything. It's only, optimizing something.
It's helping. Yeah. Cory, thanks so much for coming on my podcast today. Really darn good job there, man, for your first one. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Folks.
All right.
Thank you so much, Cory. Folks, this is Bill Wolf with East Controls. You have some interest in this product area, by all means, give us a call, and I would be happy to pull Cory and his team in. Thank you. Take care, Cory.